Good evening, everyone. This is the Joliet City Council meeting on August 2nd, 2022, presided by Mayor Bob Odenkirk. The invocation tonight will be said by Father Chris Grove, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Let us pray. Almighty God, we are grateful for the many gifts you bestow in abundance and for the favors you grant to each of us. This evening we gather together and ask that you come to enlighten members of our council so that everything that they do may begin with your inspiration and wisdom. God of wisdom and justice, through you authority is rightly administered, laws are enacted and judgments are decreed. Give your guidance to our mayor, members of the city council, our city manager, and city staff. Give them the strength to know your will so that all decisions may be pleasing to you. May their work be conducted with righteousness, and may they always seek what is for the good and welfare of the citizens of Joliet. We likewise commend to your care the residents of the city, that they too may be blessed and sanctified. Together may we work for the betterment of our community and enjoy the blessings you promise to those who remain ever faithful to you. For we praise you who are our one Lord and God, now and forever. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Father.
Thank you. We begin with roll call. Mayor Odenkirk.
Here.
Councilman Clement.
Here.
Councilwoman Gavin notified me she would be unable to attend this evening. Councilman Guerrero.
Here.
Councilman Hug.
Here.
Councilman Morris.
Here.
Councilman Mudring.
Here.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Here.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Here.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of the agenda. Is there a motion to approve the agenda as written?
So moved.
Second.
And motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Clement.
Here. Here. Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Here. Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is citizens to be heard on agenda items. First this evening is James Landham regarding Council Memo 403-22.
That's the agenda item to purchase the house for the playground, and I don't think I have to really encourage any of you to all vote yes for that. Let's do that, and let's get this problem taken care of. Thank you.
Thank you.
Rita Renwick regarding the appointment to the tree board.
Good evening. I'm Rita Renwick. I'm chair of the City of Joliet's Tree Advisory Board, and I'm here tonight because there's a nomination before you for approval of a new member to the tree board, and that is Jim Teston, who is right here. Jim came to our attention because he has actually been working on the Rock Run Crossings project, and over the last 2 years, because there was a nursery there, has been transplanting trees to save as many of those trees that were there as possible. And when approached, he was very enthusiastic about being on the board. He's has lived in Joliet for 25 years. And a bonus is that he has, among his many credentials, a degree in forest sciences. So we're really excited about that. Now, we wouldn't be appointing him if it weren't for the fact that Willie Yeager, who has been on the board, decided to retire. Now, this is after she retired from the city, working for the city for 30 to 31 years. She was on the tree board for 15 years, and for, I would say, almost entirely that time, took notes and was our working secretary. Always attended meetings. I can't tell you how many Arbor Day celebrations she's attended, but I would bet almost every one. And she also used her creative talents to create the twig costume that schools their staff or their vice principals wear when we have Arbor Day celebrations. We're going to miss her, and we really appreciate all the service that she gave to the city. So Willie, thank you. Right, and I think we were going to give her a,
We are? I can get it before the meeting's over?
okay.
All right, thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll get it. I got it.
All right, thank you.
Somebody get it.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak on an agenda item this evening? Seeing none, we'll move on to appointments. Tonight, the mayor is recommending Jim Teston be appointed to the Tree Advisory Board, replacing Willie Yeager. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Been motion seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement. Motion carried. Next is council committee reports. First is CTIS committee report.
Okay, we had a very small agenda this time. It was CTIS committee meeting, meeting met on July 20th in the conference room 1. Present were councilpersons Guerrero, Gavin, and myself. Staff were Dave Brainer, Chris Sternal, and Patty Sedgwick. The first item on the agenda was the Laserfiche project, which is a document management system. All the forms, it's going to be, forms will all be automated. Employees complete the forms, then the forms are securely routed to the appropriate areas. Examples would be travel expenses, work comp claims, witnesses to work comp claims, contracts, etc. Also, it will include DocuSign, which I'm sure most of us have had that experience. Yeah. We will be purchasing this from CDI. They will help implement, convert current docs and backscan paper docs that currently exist. It was budgeted, it was in the CTIS budget for $250,000, but it's coming in at $190,000, so that's obviously great. The second item we would like to introduce, or was introduced at our last meeting, it's part of the GenTech system. We've already done the police department, but now we're doing City Hall, so we're updating the physical security for City Hall. We're swapping out badges so that employees will only have access to areas that pertain to their specific roles, duties, and security clearance. Also, the doors will be automated. They will be on a schedule for when there will be no keys. They'll be scheduled so that they'll lock automatically and they'll unlock automatically at the appropriate times. Also, it continues on with what we discussed before about the badges and the printing machines that we're going to be swapping out. So when somebody prints a piece, it doesn't automatically just print. It waits until the appropriate badge swipes, and then they get their printing project to avoid sensitive documents being sitting out where other people shouldn't be looking at. And that was budgeted for $195,000, and it did come in at $195,000. We approved both of these and said to bring them to the full council for approval. And that's it.
Next is the public safety committee report.
Public Safety met this evening at 5:45 in council chambers. Present was Councilman Joe Clement, Councilman Larry Hugg, Jeff Price from the Director Fleet, and Deputy Chief Carlos Matlock and myself. First item on the agenda was the purchase of 3 new vehicles for the undercover drug enforcement. And the purchase of all 3 vehicles are not to exceed $140,000. Nobody else can purchase these particular cars from Ford because they're already designed to set up for the police department so they can add other equipment to it. So we passed that on to City Council for the next City Council meeting for approval by the whole council. And then we had an intergovernmental agreement with the Plainfield Community Consolidated School District 202 for the School Resource Officer Program. So Carlos Matlock, the Deputy Chief, he presented that, and Councilman Hugg, we caught a little glitch in the agreement. So what we're gonna do, what we did is we tabled it and we made an amendment to it so that apparently the old agreement was what was discussed. So there is a change. The new agreement never showed up. So what we're gonna do is discuss it with the school district And then with the new amendment, it'll come right to city council instead of going back to public safety. Anything to add, guys?
No.
Good? So that was approved with that amendment and no new old business and no public comments, so that concludes our report for public safety. Thank you.
Public Service Committee report.
The Public Service Committee met yesterday at 4:30 in the afternoon here in the City Council chambers. On the committee is Councilwoman Gavin, Councilman Morris, and myself. Also in attendance was the Director of Public Works, Greg Ruddy, Allison Swisher, Director of Public Utilities, and various staff. It was a short agenda for the most part. Don't need to drill deep. We had 3 contracts that we vetted and looked through to do with purchasing meters, purchasing the asphalt hot boxes that we had discussed some weeks back, and a roadway contract that was let. We also had 2 change order pay estimates and final payments that were reviewed and found to be in order and satisfactory. Then under the ordinance and resolutions, we had the typical housekeeping of releasing motor fuel tax funds for the projects that were under contracts. We did have a resolution approving a memorandum of understanding between the United States Marine Veterans Incorporated, a nonprofit organization, the USS Chicago base for a monument at Bicentennial Park. It's going to be a granite monument. And we looked at that proposal and the understanding, and they will be putting it there right with the Veterans Memorial at Bicentennial Park. Then the only other thing we had is we do have a community water conservation plan. And we do have interns that are hired over the summer. And this particular intern, Angela Knight, is going to give a brief presentation, the same one you gave yesterday, correct, Angela? Same presentation. This is almost finalized. I think there's a couple more steps to finalize it, at which point I'm sure it will be on the city website. It is some pretty common sense as well as maybe not so obvious solutions. More so for those that need to cut back on water as water continues to rise in all communities. And so for the most part this summer, our intern, Angela, she had to consolidate this plan into many data bits and information and opinions that came through, I'm sure, a team effort. And she was the central location that put it together. With no further ado, Angela, if you'd like to come up and give your presentation.
And just wanted to briefly introduce Angela to you all. It's been a pleasure working with her. She is a graduate of Plainfield Central and will be starting her freshman year in engineering at Iowa State in a couple of weeks. So this is her last week with us and kind of a culmination of her work this summer, but we greatly appreciated her efforts and very impressed with her work, and you'll be as you see her presentation. So thank you, Angela.
And Angela, go Wildcats, right?
Go Wildcats.
There you go.
All right, hello. Thank you, Allison. Thank you, Councilman Hug. I am Angela, and this is the Community Water Conservation Plan that was my project this summer. So, a little background, the Alternative Water Source Program for Joliet, which is the current water source, the deep aquifer, has been determined to not be able to meet maximum water day demands by 2030. And because of that, the city really wants to make sure that we're being good stewards of Lake Michigan water and that we're protecting the Lake Michigan water resource. And that as a byproduct of that, we're also helping our customers reduce their water bills. And so that's one of the reasons that this plan exists. Oops. It was easier yesterday. And before I came along, there was a water conservation subcommittee, which met, I believe, about quarterly or so. And a couple of things that they did were they conducted a water audit, a domestic water audit of this building, City Hall. They developed and implemented a rain barrel and local toilet rebate program, which are still operational and they're still going. And they recommended the adoption of the Greenest Region Compact, which is a framework for green action across all municipal departments, which the City Council approved unanimously in 2019. And they paved the way for this new water conservation stakeholder group to advise the creation and give feedback on this plan. And so this stakeholder group is comprised of involved individuals in the Joliet community, so that can be residents of Joliet, that can also be professionals that work or live in Joliet, and they advise and they give us feedback on the water conservation initiatives that we're doing. So we met with them and they helped us brainstorm some of these initiatives. They also gave us very valuable feedback on the initiative that we gave them and the process of development of the plan. And said process of development was we took and we reviewed a bunch of different municipal plans, we put them all together, we evaluated them, and we finally decided which ones we wanted to implement. And the purpose of this plan is for Joliet community members to conserve water, and as a byproduct of conserving water, to reduce their utility bills. And so, a short description of the initiatives, they're broken into 3 categories: municipal, commercial, and residential. So municipal, which is the things that the city will commit to doing; commercial, which is the things that businesses will commit to doing; and residential, which is things that homeowners can do to conserve water. And they are inspired by plans from towns like Bloomington, Indiana, Elmhurst, Illinois, Fort Collins, Colorado, McHenry County, Illinois, Naperville, Illinois, Oak Park, and Will County. And so in order to determine which initiatives we wanted to implement for 2023, we first collected all the initiatives. As I said, we went through all of the plans, we picked out all of them, we made this big master list, and then we reviewed the criteria. I'll go over the criteria on the next slide. But after we discussed the criteria we wanted to evaluate them against, we then evaluated them against the criteria. And finally, after the evaluation, we determined which ones we wanted to implement in 2023. And so here is the matrix. It is a little hard to see, I apologize, I was trying to fit it all in one slide. But, so the criteria that we discussed the amount of water saved, which is when applicable, the direct amount of water that a conservation action can save; the impacted community, so the active community being members of the community, like the water conservation stakeholder group that are involved in water conservation activities; the direct cost of the initiative, so that looks like materials and venue rentals and things of that nature. We also looked at the initial labor effort, which is how much labor is it going to take per month to get up and running. And then the maintenance labor effort, which is how much it's going to take per month to sustain. The implementation schedule, which is how long is it going to be before we roll it out to the public. The coordination effort, which is how many people is it going to take to get this thing off the ground. The implementation difficulty, which is how hard is it to implement. And the possible funding source.
I have a question.
Yes.
Could you explain what gray water is for people that are reading this?
Yes, okay, so gray water is a form of wastewater that does not contain fecal contaminants. So water from showers, water from drains, water from clothing, like clothes washers, stuff like that. So it has human hair, it has soaps, but it doesn't have any fecal matter in it.
So how do people reuse that then?
It's common in California and like cities on the West Coast to install plumbing components into their homes to take the water from those drains and then put it in like toilet bowls, or they can also use it to irrigate their lawns.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm. And so these are the recommended municipal initiatives. A couple highlights. There are some that we already are doing, so like we're updating and maintaining the water conservation information on city websites. We want to expand that. We want to make sure that we're adding resources as we come by them. But one of the exciting new things that we're doing is we're on our way to creating a water conservation incentive program, which is based on the one from Fort Collins, Colorado, which it will be linked on the plan, called Shift Your Water, which basically creates this pledge system where citizens can sign a pledge saying, I'm going to take this specific conservation action, and they're entered into a raffle for prizes. These are the recommended commercial initiatives. A note about them is that the city is recommending that commercial establishments take all of the actions that are in this plan, because we recognize that we can't necessarily force people to do things. So we want to make sure that they can do as much as they are possibly able to do to conserve water. These are the recommended residential initiatives, which there are some repeats. That's intentional, so that if I'm a resident and I want to know how I can conserve water, I don't have to hunt through this like 20-page plan to figure out like these are all the ways I can just go to this one place and it lists all the tips I have. And our implementation, so we selected the ones that we selected because we wanted them to be easy to implement and we wanted them to start thinking about implementing this now. We wanted it to be immediate because this obviously cannot wait, and we wanted to start it up very, very quickly. And some of our key strategies are we wanted to make sure that we're continuing and expanding our public outreach so that the public knows what the city is doing for its community and the community can engage in the things that the city is providing. We want to empower our community so that this isn't just a city thing, so that we can empower one person and then they can empower like 3 more people and then they can empower 3 more people, and it turns into kind of pay it forward type thing. And we also want to focus on communication, because communication is really important and we want to make sure that the public knows what we're doing and that if the public has any questions, then we can answer them. And so here are the estimated costs. These are costs per year and they're estimated, so we're looking at yearly costs here, and they're not, they'll be included into the water and sewer budget fund, which is on the next slide.
Real quick, if you don't mind, I want to clarify for somebody not watching.
Yes.
This is the cost to the city, from the city budget. I don't want somebody to confuse that it's a
Sorry.
cost per household.
Yes, this is the cost to the city of the things that the city are doing. And so these costs will be recommended for approval into the 2023 water and sewer budget. And the estimated budget is $21,000. And so for our next steps, we're developing an implementation plan for all of the recommended initiatives that we're trying to take. And I am already on that, even though this is my last week. I'm developing a list of school contacts. So I'm going through all the school websites that are serviced by Joliet Public Utilities. And I'm compiling all of their contact information and their emails and their phone numbers and everything. So we have a master list. I'm also looking at our website and I'm compiling a list of all of the resources that I've seen this summer so that the people who edit the website can link them if need be. And I'm also researching other rebate plans that include expanding the rebate from just low flow toilets to things like clothes washers or irrigation controllers. And we want to share our actions that we take with our community. And so one of the ways that we did that was I presented at the Water Commission technical meeting last week, and that includes communities from Shorewood, Crest Hill, Minooka, Channahon, Romeoville, and of course Joliet. So we reached a pretty big audience there and all of those people at that meeting were water people. And we want to encourage conservation action right now because while this is going on, we want to make sure that our community has the habits already built in so that when this starts to become an issue, more than it already is, we can kind of just fall back on those habits that we've created so that we don't have to change everything overnight. And thank you for your time. I hope that was informative and I inspired you to conserve more water. And a note, the final plan will be posted on the website by the end of this week. So if you have any questions, I can take them now.
Questions? Just a comment, thank you. Good luck at school. That was terrific.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Nice presentation.
Thank you, Angela.
Very informative.
Mayor,
Yes.
just wanted to add, first of all, thank you, Angela. That was an amazing presentation. Very happy to see this collection of initiatives. This is a problem that is going to require effort on behalf of all parties involved, and there's no singular solution. So it's good to see kind of that compilation of all of the different initiatives that we can take. And I would just say for residents, we don't need everybody to be perfect. We just need everybody to start to take that first step. You don't need to suddenly become, the water conservation expert one day to the next, but we can begin to take those small steps now, and I think this is a fantastic step in the right direction. So thank you again.
Well said.
Next is consent agenda. First is the approval of the minutes. It's recommended the minutes of the pre-council meeting held on July 18th, 2022 stand approved as recorded. Council Memo 385-22, position vacancies. It's recommended the city manager be authorized to fill one ESDA coordinator training facility director and any subsequent vacancies which may occur. Council Memo 386-22, award of contract renewal of the community notification system from July 31st, 2022 through July 30th, 2023 to Will County 911 system in the amount of $31,125. Council Memo 387-22, award of contract to Heartland Business Systems for VMware licensing in the amount of $86,544.80. Council Memo 388-22, professional services agreement for the 2022 pre-treatment program assistance to Baxter and Woodman in the amount of $110,000. Council Memo 389-22, professional services agreement for the 2023 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program to RJN Group in the amount of $74,990. Council Memo 390-22, Amendment Number 1 for the 2022 sanitary sewer investigation and rehabilitation program professional service agreement to RJN Group in the amount of $39,285. Council Memo 391-22, change order number 2 in the amount of $35,825.97 for the 2020 electrical maintenance assistance contract to Van Mac Electrical, and payment request number 12 and final in the amount of $70,032.93. Council Memo 392-22, change order number 7 in the amount of negative $699,403.03, and final payout in the amount of $765,710.58 for the 2020 sanitary sewer rehabilitation program to Performance Pipelining. Council Memo 393-22, change order number 1 in the amount of negative $690, and final payout in the amount of $4,154 for the Fairmont and Garvin Sanitary Improvement Project to Performance Construction and Engineering. Council Memo 394-22, change order number 1 in the amount of $47,000 for managed print services to Martin Whelan Office Solutions. Council Memo 395-22, approved payment of the 2022 wastewater discharge NPDES permit fees to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency in the amount of $152,500. It's recommended Council Memo 386-22 through 395-22 be approved. Is there a motion to approve all said consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero? Motion carried. Under agenda items, Council Memo 397-22, award of contract for the 2022 roadways resurfacing East Contract C to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $2,523,297.72. It's recommended Council Memo 397-22 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 398-22, award of contract for the 2022 roadways resurfacing west, contract D to Austin Tyler Construction in the amount of $2,480,853.73. It's recommended Council Memo 398-22 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 399-22, award of contract for the 2022 roadway arterial resurfacing contract to PT Farrow Construction Company in the amount of $2,340,535.07. It's recommended Council Memo 399-22 be approved.
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Mayor? Yeah.
you know, this is the efforts, Larry Hugg and this council for adding more resources to resurfacing throughout the city. I think about 4 times more of what we did in the past, so I vote aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
I'll just also briefly add, thank you, Councilman Hugg, for being very insistent on this. I think this is roadway resurfacing is probably the one thing that we can all agree on is money well spent. I also want to take just a brief moment to recognize City Manager. I previously had brought this up of having agenda items that were, you know, well into the multi-million-dollar range to be voted on separately. So glad to see that was implemented. I think it's a small step, but the public deserves to know explicitly and outright when we're going to spend over $2 million of tax money in a single transaction. So I think it's good to see those changes reflected in the agenda, so thank you for that, and I vote aye.
Councilman Hugg?
Oh, shucks, you guys, you make me blush. I do appreciate the kudos, thank you guys. Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Motion carried. Moving on under ordinances, Council Memo 401-22, an ordinance approving a special use permit to allow a B3 general business use pole vault training facility in an I2 general industrial zoning district. It's recommended that ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hugg?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carried. Next is Council Memo 402-22, an ordinance providing for the issuance of not to exceed $105 million general obligation bonds, Series 2022 Rock Run Crossings Project of the City of Joliet, Will and Kendall County, Illinois, in one or more series, and providing for the levy and collection of a direct annual tax sufficient for the payment of the principal of and interest of said bonds. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Just
Yes.
briefly, just for everyone here, could we have Mr. Gadati briefly just explain kind of the revenue stream that will be implemented to pay back these bonds?
Yes, Councilman. The bonds will be general obligation bonds, and we will float them by the end of September. The plan is to capitalize the interest for the first 3 years, which means we will be borrowing money to pay the interest back. Once the development gets going, we hope to pay the bonds off with TIF, which means that's the property tax. So the amount that the property tax increases will be going towards paying this bonds. There will be a food and beverage tax, which if they put a restaurant in, then that will be going to pay these bonds. There will be a hotel motel tax that also will be going to pay these bonds. And we will have to come back to council and create a business district, and the business district will also be used to pay back those bonds. There are several things that could happen. If the development doesn't happen fast enough, then the city council can do several things. They can, through the budget process, levy a property tax and pay that year's bonds, or we can borrow the money from ourselves through our investment pool and pay the bonds, and once the development in future years develops more than the bonds, we will pay ourselves back, or we can simply take the money and pay the debt off.
Thank you.
It was motioned and seconded to approve Council Memo 402-22. Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hugg?
I expressed my concerns yesterday, did not get the information that would assuage my concerns, no.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Just one quick question. If this never happens, we're on the hook for all of it?
Correct.
I vote no.
Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Motion carried 5-2. Council Memo 403-22, an ordinance authorizing a budget amendment for the purchase of 1,000 North Center Street. It's recommended said ordinance be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion seconded to approve. Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
You know, I believe the many small children that live in that neighborhood, they deserve a park. Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Question?
Yes.
Legal or Jim, I know we got a letter back from the occupants. I can assume some other research was done other than the idea that a park would force these people out. Is there anybody grandfathered in on these types of things, or what do we know?
Legal did not receive a copy of that letter, so I don't.
Neither
haven't
did
had
I.
an opportunity to review it.
Yeah, I did not either, but I guess is your question whether or not is there a statute that allows?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. So if you want to, I know that, is there a statute?
Can you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
So, as I understand it, we're going with the logic that if there's a park within a specific distance, the individuals that are occupying this house will have to move out.
That's correct. If they are residing within 500 feet of the edge of the property that the park is on.
So there's no grandfathering clause that they were here before the park?
No, there is not currently.
Okay. Vote aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Motion carried. Under resolutions, Council Memo 405-22, a resolution approving dedication of a 0.18 acre portion of Spencer Road and a 0.85 acre portion of Spencer Road as public right-of-way. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 406-22, a resolution authorizing approval and execution of a real estate sales agreement for the purchase of real property, McDonough and Stryker Avenue. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
And this is part of our alternative water project, correct?
Yes.
Yes, right? Yes, aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 407-22, a resolution appropriating motor fuel tax funds for the 2022 arterial resurfacing contract in the amount of $2,340,535.07. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and seconded to approve. Councilman Mudrin.
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Aye.
Councilman Morris.
Aye.
Motion carried. Council Memo 408-22, a resolution authorizing the execution of an agreement for the lease and operation of Julie Healthcare Field. It's recommended said resolution be adopted.
So moved.
Second.
And motion seconded to approve. Councilwoman Coleman.
Aye.
Councilwoman Reardon.
Aye.
Councilman Clement.
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero.
Aye.
Councilman Hug.
Did we receive the cost revenue?
Yes, we did. I was provided.
We have property south of town, Wilmington. Is there any movement on that, or what's the
Yes,
plan?
actually, it just so happens to be that our new economic director, we just came up with a plan today, so he's going to visit it with legal. We have a listing currently of all our vacant properties, not just that, and we're digging into how we divest ourselves of these various city properties. You know, we should not be in the leasing business or the property management business. Let's try to get these back on the city payrolls in terms of tax dollars, and we don't have to maintain them or insure them. So he's got a great plan. We hope to be rolling that out in the next couple of weeks or so. So I will, you know, if you want to, he can give you a briefing if you want. I can arrange for that to happen. But it's fairly detailed, comprehensive, and it's great. I'm happy to see it. It's something I've been trying to get done for a long time. But we only had Derek here for a long time, and he was on his own. So I'm so I'm very grateful to have Caesar, just jump in with both feet and take the bull by the horns and get this thing moving for us. So
Jim, just to add, for the public, we have property south of town. I spoke to Allison. It doesn't look like we're gonna need it for anything, the city at all.
Right.
So, why hold on to it?
right, we're trying to get divest ourselves again of as much property as we can, so we can start generating tax revenue for it and quit maintaining it. So.
Thank you.
Caesar?
Just very briefly, there's by the old formerly EJ&E Railroad, now Canadian National. Some of the residents have said to me that the property adjacent to the rail lines looks a little bit neglected, and so I was just wondering if there's any mechanism for us to kind of enforce management of those properties right along the rails.
Well, Councilman, if you give me the addresses for that, we'll give the railroad a call and see if we can't get them to do some maintenance on their property over there. So, if you pass those along to me, I'll see what we can do to get them cracking on that. But absolutely, okay.
Larry?
Yeah, no, I'm glad to hear that there's more and more people getting on we shouldn't be a leasing company or land management. Just curious, is that going to include the divestment, the selling to private owners of Evergreen Terrace and the ballpark? That's a lot of taxes could be had at the Evergreen Terrace complex and the ballpark if it's privately owned.
I believe that we are working on I have a program I'm working on Evergreen Terrace, not to divest ourselves, but to maybe manage it a little bit better. And so we have some innovative strategies going forward on that. I'm not prepared to talk to the exact of it, but we're working through our how we're going to do that. So we got Christine McNichols. We brought her on board. She's doing a great job with this. I think it's going to save us money. I think you in particular will be pleased on how this will go. I know that this is something that is very near and dear to your heart. So I'm excited about it and how we work with other agencies to be able to generate revenue for that.
Well, I appreciate the positive attitude about it, but I'm told I'm a hard man, not easily pleased.
Terry?
Absolutely.
Pat?
No.
Jim? Sherry?
No.
I have nothing.
Next is public comments. Robert Webb.
Councilman, administrative staff, security, community members, on behalf of the silent majority among the Joliet-Will County area community in general, and the cadres of the steering committee for the Pan-African Alliance and Collective in particular, I extend to this assembly our greetings of peace and friendship. During my previous appearance in these chambers, I provided the basis for a voluntary removal of the position of the individual occupying the position of mayor of the city council based upon several acts unbecoming of a public official. I also had recommended that said individual leave these chambers and not return back to these chambers in any way, form, or fashion. I see today that recommendation, suggestion hasn't been acted on. So today, I want to place on public record verbally that I'm asking on this full council board to act on this legislative responsibilities and duties and commence removal proceedings of Robert Erdekirk from the position of mayor of the city of Joliet based upon having committed an act of behavior unbecoming of a public official during the incident when Black Lives Matter had the peaceful protest demonstration and several acts of official misconduct, constitutional abuse, aggravated assault, aggravated battery occurred. Now, many people, particularly those who are reflective thinkers, should know that I've been an active participant observant in these proceedings for 32 years. At the height of my participation during the Schultz, Mesrith, Thanis, and Satina regime. So I take these matters very seriously, and it's the responsibility of this council to act on its legislative duties and commence removal proceedings for, again, behavior unbecoming of a public official. I'm seeking of this council to do that, to spare this council the expense of having to contend with a major civil litigation action in the U.S. District Court that'll cost the city quite a bit to defend against. So I'm asking that this council take the initiative to show that either you're the solution to the problem or you're a contributor to the problem. That's all I got to say.
Thank you.
James Lanham?
I'd like to thank you guys for voting yes on acquiring that property for the playground. Hopefully we can do some good and keep some kids safe. But I think, as I've said before, it highlights the failure of our Illinois General Assembly to fix these laws when they lose in court or when loopholes are exposed. So our only recourse is to vote out all of our area sitting legislatures, State Senate 43 and 49, state representatives in 86, 97, and 98. They need to go. They've done nothing about this. They either don't know or they don't care. So why do we want these people when these conditions exist that re-victimize victims? Somewhat related to this, and I know it's not technically a city matter, the playground equipment at the Cunningham School itself is in some disrepair. So can we look into getting it fixed and getting it safe? A couple of parents I know from that area complained about that and said the equipment was dangerous. And also Caesar mentioned the railroads not maintaining their property. Downtown Joliet, BNSF. I've been on them for over a month. There's an area, a berm right next to the ballpark on the facing BMO Bank side. Overgrown weeds, the homeless type people are in there using it for bathrooms, drugs, alcohol, and storing their stuff. And BNSF has been pretty unresponsive. They said it was fine for now. So that's one thing we need to add to the list and get them to clean up their berm. It makes downtown Joliet look like downtown Midlothian or something. It's not what our downtown should be. So, thanks.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak under public comments this evening?
My name is Fred Hunsinger. I live at 3411 Harris Drive. Larry and I are old buddies, I guess. He just doesn't seem to come by the house with a six-pack, he told me he was, but anyway.
I will.
My main concern coming here tonight was about the road resurfacing that was passed. Is there a way that we're going to know which roads and when they're going to be resurfaced? Is that going to be on the Joliet website or what?
I believe that there was a list that originally went forward when this came forward. I don't have a time frame as to when that is. I know right now that there was a material shortage when there was a strike on at the mines here in Joliet. That has set back all of the construction projects for a while. So I can't really give you a timeline as we try to literally dig our way out of that hole. So I would be just purely speculation at this point. I know that also the cost of resurfacing has also gone up.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I just have my driveway done, sure.
As a direct result of the material shortages. So based on that, I can't tell you when, and we're doing the best to get as much done as quickly as possible.
Is there going to be a way that I had several neighbors had the same concern. They couldn't make the meeting tonight. I told them, is there a way that I'm here? This is what they're going to do and when they're going to do it.
Right, there was a list on the last council agenda had all the various roads that were going to be done. But if you call over here I'm sure we can get you a copy of that. It's on the website someplace. I don't know where, but yes,
okay.
It is available. I just don't.
Is the money that was allotted, is that really going to be enough? I'm thinking about, first of all, I'm not a Joe Biden fan. The great bipartisan infrastructure bill that was passed, which that much is for infrastructure. Did we get any money from that? Did the city of Joliet get any money from that?
No.
No?
No, this
Why
is,
not? I thought, I mean, that's our tax dollar. I thought that was supposed to go out to fix the roads.
Well, that infrastructure money was given to the states. The states are then using it for state roads.
Just
It
for the
wasn't
state.
necess-
Okay,
yes.
okay, that's fine.
And so we did apply for some grants,
did-
various grants through that program. So we do get money, but it's a little bit indirectly.
Okay. Well, I was just wondering if this was gonna be enough, because I've lived where I've lived since 1991. And Essington Road, I think Larry lives nearby. 5-Day Road from Essington over to the frontage road. Theodore Street from Essington to almost Larkin is in the same, all we get is just a little patch here, a little hot oil here, a little everything. They're horrible condition, and they've been that way forever. I just wanna know when it was gonna be fixed. You know, I know we did Jefferson Street, and that was great, and that's actually starting to crack now too. But I just wondered, some of these roads, they're horrible, and nothing's been done for them but hot patch thrown in.
well, Fred, what I can explain to you, and anybody here probably would, is, no, all this.
I don't know why.
I know, all the streets aren't gonna be fixed in 1 year, but what we have done this year, this council did unanimously approve it, is we've gone from an average of 2.5 to maximum 3 million a year for streets to 10.5 million for streets this year.
Okay.
And 250,000 sidewalks to 750,000. And I believe it's the intent of this council, I don't assume to speak for them, but to do that every year now, because that's the schedule we need to have to do exactly what you're talking, to every 20 years, have every road done. So we haven't done that in the city for decades. And that's why this initiative was so important. So we have almost went 5 times what the original, what had been done for the last 10, 20, and 30 years.
Okay,
So it's gonna get better, but no, it won't happen in 1 year.
yeah. If the work is gonna start before the winter comes?
Yes, Jim was referring to
Yeah,
the
absolutely.
strike at the quarries.
Yeah, we have to get the materials, so,
Okay.
like I said, so, well, as soon as we get the stuff, you know, we're gonna start construction. I believe there's some projects that are ongoing right now. But again, you know, as we put them out to bid, we're moving them out the door. And it's about all we can handle right now, the money we're spending. So, and again, next year, we are looking in the budget to be able to put, again, this much money. When there was a slowdown in the economy, a lot of the money that would normally go to infrastructure was deferred and deferred. So we're playing catch up a little bit. So we're gonna get there. So-
Okay, well, you mentioned ongoing projects. I haven't seen any.
Well, sir, I can't explain to why you haven't been able to see a road being built. Like I
I
said,
mean,
there's
I
those
live on the
stuff
west side, so.
Yeah,
and that's-
I
I
can't
haven't seen
answer that,
anything
right?
except for Jefferson Avenue last year, which I applauded.
Right.
But the streets are horrible. They're just flat out horrible. So I just want to know when they were going to be fixed, that's all. And I had one other thing I just talked to Larry a couple of times on the phone about. I have, my wife and I planted several trees, and other neighbors have trees too. And I know that, like the village of Lombard, I'm just using them because I know my brother-in-law lives up there. If you want to cut the branches off your tree and drag them to the curb, the village will come by. I just say, hey, I got branches, and I'll come and get them. And right around the corner from me is unincorporated Plainfield Township, and all those folks have to do is drag their branches to a curb. Now, what we have to do here in Joliet is we have to cut them into 4 foot, then we have to tie them all up and have to set them all out there. And to tell you quite frankly, I'm getting too damn old to do that anymore. So I'd just like to know, Larry mentioned that the city only has 4 trucks, the ones that have the shredders on them, that tow behind the shredder on them. He said you only have 4 trucks, you mentioned?
I believe that's what we have, and we may have expanded since we talked about that a couple of years ago.
I just thought maybe that, because I have several neighbors that would like to have that service, and I'm even willing, if I call up and make an appointment, I'm willing to pay the city $25, $30 if you want to come pick up my branches, because the tree service companies, they, I don't like to use the word in front of the ladies, but they really tear you up about it, you know, on the cost, simply come and pick it up branches.
Thank you, sir. If you have questions, we could talk after the meeting with the city manager. Thank you.
Okay.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else that would like to speak? Seeing none, we have mayor and council comments next.
Joe, Caesar, Larry, Terry, Pat, Jan,
Just very quickly, I received this in the mail, and I was wondering, it was put out by hingehealth.com, but it has the city logo on it. Did we approve this, something like this?
Not that I'm aware of, no.
I got in the mail, that's sent to city employees, if you look
Only
at
city
it.
employees, because
That's what the advertisement
even
said.
retirees then, because it came to town?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wondered, because I never saw anything like that, and so I kind of questioned it.
Yeah.
Gotcha, okay,
Oh, the new program.
Sherry?
that was all.
Okay, I have a number of items. July 22nd, I was at 1321 West Jefferson Street for K. Brown Lux Boutique and Apparel. They had a ribbon cutting. Congratulations to the folks there and good luck moving forward. The next day, the Hot Sauce Expo happened downtown in the City Center Square. That was on Saturday the 23rd and Sunday the 24th. I was out there both days. That was a really good event. I was surprised at what was there, but it's a national event that toured and came through Joliet. The owners were very happy and really were impressed with downtown Joliet and our city staff for helping to put that on. July 26th, there was a ribbon cutting at 311 North Reed, the United Cerebral Palsy Center for Disabilities. They were celebrating the anniversary of the American with Disabilities Act and the anniversary of the ribbon cutting for the new park. So I want to thank the Cerebral Palsy Center for Disabilities. They've been an important part of our community, the Reedwood community, for years. July 28th, Big Brothers Big Sisters had a ribbon cutting at 14 Fairlane. I was unable to attend, but I think some city personnel were there. That same day, there was the Art Movement annual sculpture reception in downtown Joliet at Juliet's. I want to thank everyone involved in that, all the volunteer artists that have stepped forward in recent years to really help revive that movement here in Joliet. July 29th, the Tomzak Law Group had their grand opening. Councilwoman Quillman, you were there. Congratulations to Jeff Tomzak, and thank you for your investment in downtown Joliet. This last weekend on Saturday, the Including You Festival happened in downtown. Councilman Morris, I know you were there. There may have been others that I didn't see. Big shout out to Julia Alexander and her group. That this is the 5th year they've done that festival. I thought clearly this was the best year that I have seen. The vendors and the food and everything, they really, really did a nice job. It's growing every year. It's a great annual event, and I really want to thank them for taking the initiative and making Including You a reality. Sunday, the Great American Big Wheel Race happened at the Joliet Park District. That was covered by some Chicago media outlets, but I want to thank everyone who put that on. Again, that was a fundraiser for the United Cerebral Palsy School on Reed Street. So thank you to everyone who participated, who came out, and who volunteered and donated for that event. And then finally, before the council meeting tonight, I was at the Park District again. Joliet Police Department had their National Night Off event. Chief Evans, I saw you there. It was an event essentially for police to engage with the community. There were a lot of kids, a lot of families that were there, and got people to see police and deal with police in a real positive manner. So even though it was hot at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, all your guys were out there, men and women, and thank you for putting that on, as well as for everyone who donated, or all the different vendors that were there. That's all I have. I think we have an executive session tonight.
Yes, we do.
Thank you.
Is there a motion to go into closed session to discuss personnel, collective bargaining, land acquisition, or conveyance pending or threatened litigation, after which the meeting will be adjourned?
So moved.
Second.
Been motioned and seconded to approve. Councilwoman Reardon?
Aye.
Councilman Clement?
Aye.
Councilman Guerrero?
Aye.
Councilman Hug?
Aye.
Councilman Morris?
Aye.
Councilman Mudrin?
Aye.
Councilwoman Coleman?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Yeah.